We wanted to share with you today about a fact that sometimes we get very frustrated about where we are in life, who we are meeting with, and we think that it's their fault and we are working on ourselves and we are evolving, and those people are not matching our vibrations and frequencies,
And
and
we're not meant to be where we are in life.
yes, and we are not meant to live somewhere, and we still like sort of like try to be happy, but also have like a complaining within us. And I can tell you a story which I just heard, and it is about a lady which was traveling uh, to work with two other colleagues or three other colleagues in a car. And she says, yes, we are three in a car, and when the fourth colleague comes, the energy in the car absolutely changes, and it's transforming so much that we don't have really nice energy in a car. And a person who was interviewing her was having shamanic experiences and broader consciousness perspective, and he said, but it's still you. You are where you belong. And
Otherwise, you wouldn't have this experience,
yeah,
even.
and it is still you. So it is not that you are better than that person, that that person basically ruins your energy. It is still in you. Some part of you is still calling and attracting these people. So that's why you have that person in a car, because it is still fulfilling some kind of pattern, or it's still doing some work and
And it
job
is
for you.
evoking some emotion in you. And
Yeah,
when you say this, I just remember the technique of Ho'oponopono,
yeah,
if I say it correctly, where
yeah.
one of those people who was using this technique a lot, or maybe who was teaching this technique, said that he heard from people in prisons, and he got their files and saw what horrendous crimes they did, and he started to ask for forgiveness. He said those four things: I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And he said that he asks for forgiveness for these horrendous things that other people did that he had nothing to do with, because he had the file on his table, and because he was reading their files, he recognized it as something that has to do with him and something that he can resolve, because otherwise he wouldn't even see this.
Hello to Kanti to Hawaii,
Yes, I
because
was also thinking of
I
Kanti,
was thinking she has such
one of our
a wonderful
subscribers.
smile. We have a person who watches our videos in Hawaii, and she has such an amazing smile. It looks like people in Hawaii now.
Yeah.
All people, we know just one, but all people in Hawaii have beautiful smiles
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
That's how the
No
brain works
stereotype.
usually, right? So, yeah, and I think I will apply this. I forgot about it. That's why I always like to watch. Every day I watch some other videos from other people. So I am constantly reminded of what I want to improve about me, or just like remind me that can change or the tools and so on. Because I was reading book. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And there is like really horrific images described in first pages about these people in some war, and how he was
Trauma.
like traumatizing other women, because it was so much rage and anger in him. So he turned off his brain, and he just assaulted the women there. Or I don't want to go into details, but it was like a really not nice. And I closed that book, and I was very frustrated about it. So now when I could read it, the book, that's why I can go back to that book now. I can read it and go back and say, okay, I thank you, I love you, please forgive me, because this is actually in me. That's why I read about it, and that's why I could also heal it in me, and through me, in my energy, I could just not block it in me with this fear, and I'm closing the book and I'm not going to do this, and it doesn't mean I think you should watch news or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But if there is some deeper message, for example, in that book for me, and that stopped me to read it, maybe I should just go through it like I forgive, and I forgive to myself through the Ho'oponopono technique, and that's why it all could be transformed into something higher and better.
But I think to make it very relatable for you, it's like the question, where am I right now? What am I living in? Am I really happy where I am? And you might think to yourself that I don't belong here. That's not where I'm supposed to
Mm.
be. But the fact that you are in this situation means that it is a vibrational match with your inner energy. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. We don't have to be frustrated about this because it's something that we can change, but we have to change that from within. And that, in my specific scenario, for example, starts with stop complaining about the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
Stop being triggered about the same things and starting to act differently and think differently. And I have to continuously catch myself. If I really want to move beyond that and want to move out of this situation I'm in, I have to really change these things, the way I think, the way I act, and the way I feel.
I also have a situation in my life that we now live in certain place, and basically it's my home place, and we are like very limited here with the space and everything, and I have tried in my life like 20 times to move out of here, and I have moved to Stockholm, to UK, to America, to Prague, to I was partly living in Kiev once for a year, and you know, we were moving out together even twice, and it still brings us back. And the last one, which brought us here back, was my dog, Luna. She brought me back to my family, back to my roots, and it doesn't happen for no reason. But also, when we are here, it's very crazy because when we lived here during COVID, they started to cut here forest, which has always been here, and it created a lot of damage for the water which the trees were holding and keeping. Basically, our house is now drowning in water and the walls get moldy and everything, so we have quite problems with that. And now all of a sudden we are living here, and they started to basically huge trucks are driving in front of very like our house is very secluded from everywhere, and out of nowhere they started to cut again trees, and the trucks are driving here, and they are building this touristic path here. And I'm still asking, there's still something like this happening to us. Everywhere we go, I was still thinking, hey, this place is telling us to get out of here. But when we get out of here, we are magnetized back, and we,
Or we have like similar situations in other homes that we were
yeah,
living in. You know,
yeah,
it's still our energy. It's
it's
still,
our
we take it
energy.
with us. We think,
Yeah,
okay, let's leave this place
yeah,
and we'll go somewhere where everything is
yeah.
better, but there will be still the same challenges because we haven't really overcome them yet.
Or there are different challenges. For example, here was the noise, and it was like the emotional situation and charge in this house, which has changed. And because one person is out of this house, which is not our family, and we moved somewhere else, and it was really cool. We had nice neighbors, everything was great, but the weather conditions in that house, the the temperatures were so extremely high that summer, especially that summer when we moved there, that I said that we cannot live there the next summer with the dog, because the dog would not make it, because it was so hot. It was like in sauna, and it was like you couldn't even walk outside of the house because it was so hot. And we promised to each other that we will move in a year because we just couldn't handle it, and because of my dog we couldn't find any other place to live, for example. So it was really crazy how the consciousness or how the energy just puts us in a place where we are just vibrationally matching.
But even if the situation or the problem that we have is different, it's still the same
Yeah,
emotions, because the
still.
palette of emotions is quite like you can have an overview of it very easily. It's either guilt, frustration, anger, hatred, jealousy. You know, it's always still the same few
Yeah.
emotions, but they can have different situations in there. So it's just something completely different problem, but still the same emotion. So we keep attracting something, and that's something that we really want to overcome.
And that's our path. That's the fun thing about life when you wake up and when you start to see that it's not a, it's for, it's for something to be here, to get my childhood past things resolved. For example, that's why we are stuck here. And I'm not saying stuck in a way that it's bad, because I understand that it's maybe necessary to evolve. And now, because I know about it, it's so much lighter. And I understand that no matter where I go, I'll carry it with me, no matter what, you know. When I was 17, I wanted to go as an exchange student to America, and my parents were having a very big like fight sort of situation, because my father had another girlfriend and my mother was very hurt, and they were still back and forth with the relationship. And I thought, when I escape from this, I will not take it with me and I'll be in America, you know, I'll study there and I'll be totally fine. No way. It was absolutely the worst thing, because I took that all with me. First 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it looked okay. But then, because of September 11th happened when I was in America, it was absolutely depressive there. It was crazy. You know, you couldn't call home, you didn't know if you will ever go home, and stuff like that. So, you know, always something happens. For example, now people are in Dubai, and they are now going back to business. I have friends in Qatar, so they also have information that they should go back to business, that the Qatar gave a lot of money and finances to somebody, and they are out of the danger because of that. But I don't know, it's just you never know where you take your energy and where you carry it, and it's time for us to clean it and cleanse it within us, to just understand that it's our energy too which is creating this.
But you said before that it's also fun that we have something to deal with here. And I think that's a really good attitude. Like we
Yeah,
can just take it a little
sometimes.
bit lighter. We don't take it too seriously, and it's fun. Yeah, okay. So I have this challenge right now. So what? You have your challenge. So what? That's just the way it is. So we'll work with it. And if we can be a little bit playful and lighthearted about it, it will be also much more enjoyable. We can enjoy the journey along the way.
It's like you think that if you leave this guy in a relationship, if you leave him, you'll have a much better relationship. But if you're not going to do inner work about yourself, you're not going to meet any new person. It
Yeah.
will look like a new person, but you will still have the same energy around you.
Often it doesn't even really look like a new person.
It looks
I think
usually,
often they're the same types.
for example, my sister was still having the same name even of the partner. It's insane. Like, you know, some people even meet a person who is named the same. And I remember our famous actor or singer in Czech, his wife was named Monica, and he divorced her, you know, and he found another one named Monica. And you know, and they have the same last name, both of them, because one is from divorce, but the kids are still named after him and stuff. So it's fun how you don't have resolved issues, and you have to grow into something.
Yeah.
And when we are humble, when we understand that we are not always right, and we have something, it has something to do with us, with our emotional state, with our ability to let go, then
Mm-hmm.
we could leave these patterns much easier,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's also an egoistic approach to say, hey, I don't like it here, you know, and wherever you go, you will not like it there because you don't live there, or you're in a relationship with somebody you don't like it, you're not happy. But if you're not going to take care of yourself right now in this moment, you are not very much likely to be happy somewhere in the future, because it basically doesn't exist. Only what exists is right now, in
Mm-hmm.
this moment.
So practically, how could we change these things, these patterns?
What do you think? How can we change it?
As I already said, by becoming aware of the way we think, act, and feel, and then changing that, like continuously catching ourselves throughout the day. Oh, I did it again. All right. And I'm aware of it and I'm changing it in that moment.
We had today some talk together, that because I'm partner from Raphael, I catch him sometimes in his automatic replies, responses to me, and because I become aware of certain things, because I observe him, I could refer to him every single day that he is basically having certain times of a day when he sends and where he tells me basically similar sentences or the same sentences. And
Like, how good is this weather?
no, not that one. That's nice. So I wanted to just say also that it's very important to become aware of what you're speaking and to stop being constantly on an autopilot, because that's actually the worst thing. Because I believe when we move somewhere or when we change the relationship and so on, it's all really cool because it's new and
You're
we are
present.
not in our automatic programs. But then we slip back into it. It's sooner or later we all are there in automatic programs. And what we have to do is we have to put us out of there. You know, if you want to change a relationship because you're not happy in there, okay, I understand sometimes the relationships are abusive and you should leave. But sometimes if you have a relationship which is kind of okay and you don't feel happy, then maybe it's not about that person next to you, it's about the person who you see in a mirror, about you. And if you will become aware of how you are speaking, how you are behaving, and how you are behaving to yourself, then maybe it's going to change. It happened to so many people, which I know.
Sometimes I thought my way of removing myself out of autopilot or being more in control of my life and not go unconscious is by having a morning routine. Getting up at a certain time, doing the meditation, doing the affirmations, and the cold shower and drinking warm water and all these things. But you can also do these things on autopilot. And I had so many meditations where I just was sitting through it and I wasn't changed at all
Because
during
it
the
was on
entire time.
autopilot.
And I was absolutely unconscious, and also doing exercises, workouts. I just do it for the sake of doing it, but I don't think I get as much benefit from it as if I would do it consciously and being aware how my muscles move. So it's tricky. You can't even really save yourself from this when you are having a routine or a ritual. And I'm really glad that Petra tells me about these things. It's uncomfortable, of course, but I also don't want to be there. I don't want to be on autopilot. So it's good if I have somebody else reminding me, even though it can be harsh. I know, okay, I don't want to live like this, so I'm going to change it. Now I'm more aware of it.
We hope that it was a very gentle reminder for you about that.
Sometimes we are in places where we think we don't belong, but actually we are matching the energy absolutely perfectly. And if we want to change where we are in life and we want to move somewhere else, then we have to first change ourselves.
Or at least become aware of that program. And if you already see the burglar is already not gonna steal anything. Remember that.
Share with us in the comments how you experience these things. If you also have situations in your life that you would wish to be different, but now you know that it's actually your inner state. We're curious to hear from you. And don't ever forget that you're unlimited. And if you would like to share some more time with us, we also have this video here for you next.